7 things you should never sacrifice yourself. For self-respect is one of the cornerstones of personality that should never be compromised for the convenience of others. In today's world, where we are often asked to make concessions, compromises, and sacrifices, it's easy to lose touch with ourselves by sacrificing our inner world for the sake of illusory benefits. Stoicism teaches us that self-respect is not just a sense of self-worth, but the foundation of resilience and inner peace. Self-respect. Self-respect is the foundation upon which a person's entire identity is built. It doesn't arise on its own. It requires a conscious choice to protect your principles and values. Without self-respect, we risk losing our identity, dissolving into the expectations of others. People who consistently make concessions to please others ultimately lose themselves. This can manifest as blurred personal boundaries or a rejection of their own desires and needs. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of protecting self-respect as a means of safeguarding one's inner fortress. If you don't learn to do this, others will begin to see you as a convenient tool for meeting their needs, which will inevitably lead to burnout. Examples of losing self-respect. Examples of losing self-respect can be seen everywhere. It often starts with small things, agreeing with criticism that seems unfair or fulfilling requests that exceed your capabilities. Over time, these minor concessions accumulate, undermining your inner confidence. Daily criticisms we encounter can subtly erode self-respect. They make us doubt ourselves and our capabilities. When you constantly second-guess yourself, your confidence begins to fade. It's essential to remember that lost self-respect is challenging to recover. Reconnecting with yourself requires effort and can be a painful process. Protecting boundaries. Boundaries define who we are and how we interact with the world. People feel comfortable around you as long as you don't hold up a mirror to their expectations. However, once you start setting boundaries, some people may feel uncomfortable. It's important to understand that this is normal. Protecting your boundaries is an act of self-respect. It means being willing to leave places and people who do not respect your principles. If you regularly sacrifice yourself for others' comfort, you gradually lose yourself. Stoicism teaches us to be steadfast and firm in protecting our boundaries. This doesn't mean being cruel or indifferent, but it requires understanding that your inner state is more important than someone else's fleeting convenience. The importance of self-respect. Self-respect is a promise to yourself to protect your inner world and confidence. People who truly respect you will value your boundaries and decisions. If someone refuses to accept your boundaries, it means they don't respect you as a person. Stoics believe that self-respect is the foundation of confidence and clarity of purpose. Only by remaining true to your principles can you achieve inner harmony and live in alignment with yourself. However, it's important to remember that defending your boundaries requires continuous self-improvement. It's a process that demands patience and persistence. When we sacrifice self-respect for short-term benefits or attempts to please others, it leads to the destruction of our inner self. We begin to doubt our decisions, lose confidence, and become dependent on others' opinions. It's vital to recognize this in time and change direction. There are many situations where a person can lose self-respect. For example, agreeing to take on a job or project you're not interested in because you're afraid to say no is an example of how compromises can gradually erode your inner well-being. When such situations become a habit, you lose yourself and begin living to meet others' expectations. Self-respect is also closely tied to the ability to acknowledge your mistakes. Stoicism teaches us not to fear mistakes, but to learn from them. A person who respects themselves won't be ashamed of their missteps, but will draw lessons and move forward. This not only maintains inner balance, but also boosts self-esteem. Stoics argued that true self-respect is based on understanding your nature and true desires. When a person realizes who they are and what they strive for, external factors lose much of their influence. This provides inner freedom and confidence in one's actions. For example, if you know that your time and efforts are valuable, you won't waste them on meaningless tasks or attempts to earn someone's approval. It's important to understand that self-respect is not something you can gain once and for all. It requires constant support and reinforcement. Every time you face a situation where your boundaries may be violated, you're presented with a choice: to stay true to yourself or compromise your principles. By making the right choice, you strengthen your inner strength. Don't forget that self-respect isn't just about protecting boundaries, but also about taking care of yourself. It means giving yourself time to rest, not overloading yourself with responsibilities, and taking care of your mental and physical well-being. People who respect themselves know how to pause and give themselves a break to recover and continue striving for their goals. Dreams. Dreams are what give life meaning. Sacrificing your dreams for the expectations of others means abandoning what makes you uniquely yourself. Pursuing your dreams not only enriches your own life, but can also positively impact the lives of others. People who give up their dreams for the sake of others often experience deep regret. Stoicism teaches us not to let external circumstances dictate our inner aspirations. Your dreams are your personal goals, and you must protect them. Time. Time is the most valuable resource, one that cannot be regained. People often fail to notice how they waste time on things that don't matter to them. Constantly sacrificing time for others leads to exhaustion and the loss of meaningful moments in life. Stoics remind us that protecting our time is a sign of wisdom. Learn to say no when necessary, and don't be afraid to prioritize your goals and well-being. Every minute spent on others' expectations at the expense of your own desires is a minute you can never get back. Stoicism helps us realize that time should be used wisely, dedicated to what truly matters to us. Mental health. Mental health is the foundation upon which everything else in life is built. Ignoring your mental state for the sake of success or approval will inevitably lead to burnout. Stoics emphasize that without mental health, neither happiness nor achieving goals is possible. Neglecting mental health often results in stress and a loss of life's meaning. People who chase success, money, or recognition while ignoring their inner state eventually realize that these pursuits don't bring true satisfaction. Taking care of your mental health is an act of self-respect. Only by being at peace with yourself can you build harmonious relationships with others and achieve true success. Personal experience. At one point, I realized that I had taken on too many tasks in an attempt to meet others' expectations and avoid disappointing those close to me. Constantly agreeing to requests that exceeded my capacity seemed like a necessary step toward recognition and success. I kept saying yes to more responsibilities without considering that this path was leading to exhaustion. Gradually, I noticed that I was losing interest in things that once inspired and brought me joy. This feeling of diminished energy and persistent fatigue followed me everywhere. It was then that I understood something had to change. Either I would take a break and start caring for my mental health, or I would lose myself entirely. That moment became a turning point in my life. I began learning to say no, to defend my boundaries, and to focus on my true needs. The process of recovery wasn't easy and took considerable time, but it taught me a vital lesson. Taking care of my self-respect, time, and mental health is not selfish. It is a prerequisite for a full life. Today I know that inner harmony is more important than external approval, and preserving it is my top priority. I recall another instance where I had to consciously choose between my interests and others' expectations. A close friend asked for my help, and although I knew it would consume all my free time and exhaust me, it was difficult to refuse. However, I chose myself, and while this caused temporary dissatisfaction, I later felt immense relief. This was yet another lesson. Others' expectations should never take precedence over your own well-being. Over time, I've learned to distinguish when helping others is truly necessary and when it is simply a form of manipulation. Stoicism taught me that helping others should not become an end in itself if it comes at the expense of your own life. Now, I'm confident that only by balancing self-care with supporting others can you remain true to yourself and your principles. The importance of mental health. Mental health is not a reward for surviving stress. It is the foundation of our well-being. It requires care and attention, just like physical health. Too often, people ignore the signals their body sends, dismissing fatigue and anxiety as temporary issues. But neglecting mental health only worsens the problem, turning temporary difficulties into chronic conditions. Rest is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Allowing yourself time to recover helps maintain inner peace and prevents burnout. Taking care of yourself is an expression of love for your inner world. Neglecting this vital aspect of life leads to imbalance, affecting every sphere, from work to personal relationships. Boundaries and self-respect. Boundaries are not walls but protective lines that safeguard emotional balance. They help preserve self-respect and energy, preventing exhaustion. Ignoring these boundaries leads to accumulating resentment and disappointment, as one's needs and desires remain unnoticed. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and a conscious approach to life. When a person defines their boundaries, they establish priorities and learn to say no to things that drain their resources without giving anything in return. This not only helps avoid emotional burnout, but also fosters sincere and mutually respectful relationships with others. Boundaries are also a tool for self-understanding. By respecting their own needs and values, a person gains a deeper awareness of what they truly want from life. This leads to harmony, where internal strength is directed toward growth and achieving goals, rather than struggling with dissatisfaction and resentment. One of the main reasons boundaries are ignored is the fear of being misunderstood or rejected. However, when a person compromises their boundaries for others, they lose respect for themselves. Over time, this erodes the clarity with which others perceive them as an individual. Therefore, respecting your own boundaries is fundamental to forming a healthy perception of yourself and your place in the world. It is important to remember that boundaries can change depending on circumstances and life stages. Their flexibility reflects maturity and mindfulness. It's crucial to regularly reassess your boundaries and adapt them to new challenges and goals. Ultimately, boundaries are not a tool for isolation, but a way to create a comfortable space for growth and development. Learning to set boundaries is a skill that requires practice. It starts with recognizing your needs and ends with the ability to communicate them clearly and confidently to others. This can be challenging, especially in relationships where self-sacrifice for others has become a habit. However, the results are worth the effort. Respecting boundaries leads to more genuine and meaningful connections where everyone feels heard and valued. Thus, boundaries are a way to preserve oneself amidst constant external pressures. They help focus on what truly matters, avoid emotional burnout, and create conditions for a fulfilling life. By protecting their boundaries, a person strengthens their self-respect and serves as an example to others, inspiring them to recognize their own worth. The importance of financial independence. Financial independence is not just about freedom. It's about being the architect of your own life. When a person loses financial autonomy, they also lose the ability to make decisions that shape their future. It's not merely about numbers in a bank account. It's a reflection of self-respect and a means to maintain stability, even in uncertain times. Dependence on others financially limits one's freedom of choice. Conversely, independence provides confidence and the ability to build life on your terms. It's not about wealth, but about valuing your efforts and managing resources wisely. Passion as fuel. Passion is a source of energy that gives life meaning. Without it, Each day turns into a mechanical sequence of actions, devoid of joy and inspiration. Abandoning one's passion for the sake of practicality leads to the loss of the inner fire that makes life vibrant. Passion is not just a hobby, it's an essential part of one's identity. It opens new horizons, helps overcome difficulties, and inspires not only the individual but also those around them. It's the fuel that powers dreams and gives the strength to move forward. When a person discovers their passion, they feel a surge of energy that might have been lacking before. Passion often drives the pursuit of new knowledge, skills, or abilities that make life even more exciting. It helps overcome fears and doubts, as the desire to engage in a beloved activity outweighs any obstacles. It's akin to being in a state of flow, where time loses its meaning and every moment brings joy and fulfillment. However, in modern society, it's often said that passion is secondary and should be sacrificed for serious matters. Such an attitude deprives people of an important source of inspiration that can not only enhance their personal lives, but also benefit others. After all, it's through passion that individuals create unique things, inspire others, and find true happiness. Passion is also a tool for self-discovery. Immersing oneself in it helps clarify values, dreams, and goals. It allows a person to identify what truly matters, discarding everything else. In such moments, one doesn't merely exist, but lives fully and mindfully. Do not be afraid to invest time and resources in developing your passion. Although challenges may arise on this journey, they should not be a reason to give up. Each obstacle makes a person stronger, and each victory strengthens the desire to move forward. In this way, passion becomes not just a hobby, but a means to change one's life and the world around for the better. The importance of passion. Passion is what brings vibrancy to life, even when it is filled with responsibilities and difficulties. Abandoning passion for practicality may seem like a logical step, but over time, this mistake becomes increasingly evident. A life without passion loses its depth and richness. Passion inspires not only the individual, but also those around them. It is a contagious energy that encourages others to seek their own pursuits that give life meaning. When a person follows their passions, they become an example for others. Following your passion. To follow your passion is to have the courage to go against the tide. Not everyone will understand the significance of your interests, and some may mock or underestimate them. Yet standing up for your passion brings profound satisfaction that external approval can never replace. Accepting yourself and your uniqueness takes effort, but the result is worth it. Every passion is not just a pastime, but a part of one's identity, making each person who they are. By nurturing this part of themselves, individuals achieve inner harmony. In conclusion, self-respect, dreams, boundaries, and passions are the foundation of individuality. By protecting these aspects, one preserves their uniqueness and inner strength. No one should be allowed to convince you to abandon what makes your life meaningful. Life is too short to live by someone else's rules. Prioritize what inspires and brings you joy. Take care of yourself. Respect your boundaries. Strive for financial independence, and never forget the passions that make you feel alive. This is the path to a fulfilling and vibrant life.